Leicester is one of the most diverse cities in the UK. A recent survey found that in a number of city schools, well over half the pupils speak English as an additional language.
We have quite a significant number of students at this school with English as an additional language, and they come to us throughout the year at different parts of the term, and some of them have no English at all, so no functional English for the classroom. Others can speak it but not read it or write it, and they've come from across the world and they're thrown into an unfamiliar environment where they can't access anything really. So we've had to develop our provision to meet their needs.
For me, one of the biggest things with reading for EAL is the fact that quite a large percentage, from my experience, come along and you can give them a sheet of paper, you can give them a text, and they will sit and they will probably read it quite well. You can be taken in by thinking, well, actually, they're good readers. But what then happens is you start to ask any kind of questions about the text. And of course the comprehension of the text isn't there, so they haven't actually understood what it is that they've read. So we're going to see what we've learnt about what we've read, okay? So why is it surprising that raptors have good hearing? So if you can't remember, we can have a look at page 16 and see if we can find out. So what does it tell us here is strange about their ears?
It says that they are eating the feathers.
Okay, and if you imagine, if you've got lots of feathers over your ears, you'd think that might block the hearing, mightn't it?
Yeah.
But actually it's not, it's really, really good hearing. We need to think about how silent letters are used. So on page 18, there is a word that has a silent letter at the beginning of it. So I want you to look at page 18 and see if you can find that word for me.
Deadly.
Does that have a silent sound? So it's at the beginning of the word. When we say deadly, we can hear the deadly.
Yeah.
But look at this word. What does this word say?
Knock.
Knock. What's the first sound you hear when you say the word knock?
No.
N, don't you?
Yeah.
But what sounds that one on its own?
K.
It's a K. And what sound does it make? Do you know usually? If you saw it there, what sound would it make in kill? When you look at the word kill,
K.
it makes a K sound. Yeah. But in knock, it's sitting there right at the front of the word, but it doesn't make any sound, does it?
Yeah.
You knew that. You knew how to read the word knock. You knew that didn't say knock. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's what we call a silent letter. We'll talk about the text as we go. We will talk about finding the answers within the text, and we also look at inference, so inferring information from the text, and personal opinion. So what did you think about this? What did you think about that? And within that, when you're working one-to-one, we can obviously pick out difficult areas of vocabulary. We can pick out different issues with sounds. So rather than teaching phonics from the beginning and teaching the whole lot, we pick out the particular phonic areas where they have weaknesses. And having the one-to-one means that the students don't have those. They're not worried about making mistakes so much. They're not worried about how they look in front of other students if they can't read a word or they struggle to answer. So one-to-one is a much more comfortable environment, I think, for the student.
Initially, you run the risk of them coming into school, and because they've not got the language, they're not in the correct sets, and we've moved away from that, because if they're put in a low ability group just because they've not got the language, they're not going to get exposed to the models of language necessarily that we want them to. So we look at their initial assessments, we monitor their progress along with the whole school, so they're not a separate entity, it's all under one umbrella. We do regular data monitoring every 6 weeks or so we can see if they need to be moved into higher ability groups, or if they need a change, or if they need some extra support putting in place, then they can access that to try and accelerate that progress and that language acquisition quicker.
This is Gaurav. He's in his first year of secondary school after recently moving to the UK from India.
I think the thing with Gaurav is he's really keen and enthusiastic, and a lot of our new arrivals are, and they really want to do well. They really value the UK education system. I mean, there are lots of things missing that your standard primary school child would get, like the phonics and the exposure to the sounds and how to blend the sounds, and he's trying to do it, but obviously in a secondary school setting, he's not getting the focused diet of phonics training that you'd get at 5 in a primary school had he been here. So had he been here then, I think he would be flying. I think he'd be at least an average student, if not better.
I'm choosing mine. I'm choosing
He has
this
that
one.
enthusiasm and he's really engaged and he has an LSA to support him. Let's have a look at this picture. I don't want you to ask another question. I want you to tell me just using the picture. Okay, go on then, Gaurav.
The lady's explaining what happened there.
What kind of death did this person have?
Diabetes and Miss Diabetes.
What could you say in a simple sentence? There has been a murder. Can we write that then? If we haven't got a sentence of our own, who thinks they know the name of the person who's been murdered? Who thinks they know?
Thomas killed any murder of Thomas.
And what's his name after Thomas? Like your name's Patel, isn't it? Thomas has got another name.
But
Miss can help you. Yeah.
Beckett.
Murder of Thomas Beckett. Do any of us know who this?
Murder of Tom Beckett.
Thomas Beckett. Well done, Gaurav. What does the title say?
Murder in the cathedral. Cathedral. Murder in the cathedral.
Okay, right. So, murder in the cathedral. Has anyone ever been to a cathedral? It's a church, isn't it? It's a special church, a very special type of church. One sentence then, please. Everyone listen and follow with their finger, please. Gaurav, you need to follow with your finger.
The evening of the 29th December 1170 was a dark and stormy one.
Well done, lovely reading. I'm going to have a look at 4 words in there. Okay? What are those words you know, first of all?
News.
Good boy. Okay, so you can put a tick with that one. Put a tick on next to news. What does news mean?
News, like news, we can see something in news that we can tell to everybody what happened.
What happened? Good boy. Okay, see if you can do one of the other ones now. They are hard. I'm choosing a little bit trickier ones for you.
Outside in order.
What can you do on that word? How far can you go? Okay, so, okay, let's do the first bit. Okay, so you know this sound here, it makes an F sound. So blend the F.
Death.
Good.
Death.
Can you write it for me one more time underneath?
Death.
Brilliant, okay. So the way that I adapt my lessons is basically trying to make them really visual, trying to make them really interactive, massive focus on speaking and listening.
When Gaurav has one-to-one support, he thrives. But in some lessons, when he's on his own, the language difference can be a real barrier to his progress.
Are you okay? Do you know what you're doing? What are you doing? Explain to me.
I have to write this one right here.
So, how many shirts do you want?
3 or 4.
Okay, so just say you want 3. So the quantity would be 3. So for price.
Quantity times price.
Quantity times price, yes.
Here, take it.
In the short term, Gaurav won't take part in some mainstream lessons. Instead, he receives intensive one-to-one literacy work to fast-track his progress.
Well done.
Print. Bring. Ink. Brink. Drink. Blank.
Well done. Well done.
Drink.
Well done.
Now, those elements you need to know the names of, okay? So this O
Gaurav's
What is this
enthusiasm
O
and the
called?
intensive literacy support he
Excellent.
receives will help him to quickly overcome the
Oxygen.
language barrier,
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. You're on the ball today.
which will
Question
improve his outcomes
3.
right across the curriculum.
Write the symbol for carbon dioxide. What is the symbol for the element gold?